The horrific news of numerous deaths in a property owned by a renowned televangelist broke at the beginning of 2023. A month later, several shallow mass graves were unearthed in the 800-acre land owned by the controversial cleric Paul Mackenzie. As of 1st May 2023, 109 bodies had been exhumed, with a death toll estimated to 300. Due to the large number of victims, this scenario is termed as a mass disaster. The incidents gained attention in the early weeks of April 2023, when a man contacted the police after his wife and daughter left Nairobi, Kenya, to join Paul Mackenzie's remote Good News International Ministries in Kilifi County and did not return. Good day, loves. My name is Sonia, and you're welcome to another episode of Uncovered Truth. If you are new here, I post true crime and mystery cases here weekly. So if that's your sort of thing, please consider subscribing to Uncovered Truth for more videos. In today's video, I'll be discussing the infamous Shakahola Massacre of 2023. In 2003, Paul Mackenzie founded the Good News International Church in Malindi. He was the fifth of 11 children in his family, with a modest upbringing in the coastal region of Kenya. On finishing school, he lived on odd jobs and later became a cab driver. He started attending church sermons on weekends as he continued with his taxi business during the weekdays. It was during this time that he had revelations to start his own church. In the year 2003, his preaching career kicked off. He became well known for his preaching and used to get invites to conduct sermons. This was his breakthrough as his reputation as a famous preacher began to grow. Mackenzie's teachings would attract many individuals with vulnerabilities such as substance abuse, anxiety, socio-psychological related family crisis, or having a deviant child. People came with their problems and he gave them hope. This was where Mackenzie had total control of their lives and a platform for manipulating his followers. Paul Mackenzie predicted the world will come to an end in June 2023. His own world collapsed at the end of April when he was arrested by Kenyan police following the discovery of 100 decomposing bodies in the Shakahola forest. The apocalypse never happened, and now the famous preacher is awaiting trial. In Kenya, there's an old joke that says if you lose your job, you start a church or a charity. And sometime in the early 2000s, Mackenzie abandoned his job as a taxi driver and launched the Good News International Ministry. The mass suicide started in January when Paul gave his members instructions to begin fasting so that they could get to heaven. Mackenzie had been telling his followers for some time now that the world was coming to an end. Initially, he offered the forest as a sanctuary from the approaching apocalypse. But in a grisly twist, it became a last stand to get to heaven before the end of days. Much of Mackenzie's preachings focused on a new Kenyan national identity card that will include personal data encoded in an electronic chip, the sign of the beast he called it. He instructed his followers to quit their jobs, drop out of formal schools, stop feeding on worldly food, and not seek medical treatment from hospitals when they were sick. They met on Sundays under a tree from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for life lessons. Police say he told them that the fast will count only if they gathered and offered them his farm as a fasting venue. They were not to mingle with anyone from the outside world if they wanted to go to heaven, and were to destroy all documents given by the government, including national IDs and birth certificates. The government-authorized rescue began on April 13th, after 2 children were reported to have starved and suffocated to death by their parents on Mackenzie's advice. On March 23rd, Mackenzie was arraigned in court and was released on a 10,000 Kenyan shillings cash bail. He had been arrested before in 2019, also relating to the deaths of children, but was released on bond. Both cases are still in court. Investigations by the police led them to the Shakahola forest, where 16 emaciated people were found, 4 of whom died before reaching the hospital. The first bodies recovered from their graves were mostly children. One of the graves is believed by police to contain the bodies of 5 members of the same family, 3 children and their parents. One of the graves had up to 6 people inside. Another grave had 12 children in it. Some of the bodies were not buried. Authorities also discovered a number of other emaciated individuals, including one who had been buried alive for 3 days and was later taken to a hospital for treatment. Local authorities began requesting assistance from other jurisdictions to help with efforts at the commune. Authorities believe that an unknown number of people were still hiding in the forest and evading authorities while continuing to fast. Authorities reported that members of the commune were actively trying to hinder their efforts to find survivors. As of 10th May 2023, 133 deaths were reported, including 8 who were rescued but later died. The majority of deaths were children, with women being the next largest group, according to the Interior Minister. He additionally stated that not all deaths were by starvation. There were other methods used, including hurting them. Autopsies conducted on more than 100 bodies showed that the victims died of starvation, strangulation, suffocation, and blunt trauma. The Kenyan Red Cross reported on 30th April that 410 individuals, including 227 minors, were missing. As of 2nd August, the total number of reported deaths was 427, and the number of those reported missing stood at 613 as of 24th May. 91 had been rescued. A number of those rescued are expected to be turned into state witnesses against the suspected Shakahola cult leader, Paul Mackenzie. They have, however, declined to cooperate with investigators in what they now term as solidarity with their king. Paul surrendered to the police on April 14th and is still in custody pending investigations. He has since refused to eat. Neither has he nor any of his representatives spoken to the police. He said, "I am shocked about the accusations placed before me. I closed my Good News International Church in Malindi in August 2019, and it's important for people to accept that. I even sold the equipment and all the chairs there. If a person used to worship with me, then they should do it on their own and not by my name," he added. "Follow Christ and not Pastor Mackenzie." He blamed the media for always misquoting him and taking his words out of context. The other time, I made a sermon on earthly education being evil, and I was taken to court for telling children not to go to school. This was not the case. It's a prophecy, and it depends on how you take it. I can preach, but I do not force the teachings on anyone, he said. Village elders in a nearby forest say they notified the authorities that starving children were escaping the forest from as early as late last year, but the aftershocks of the Shakahola Massacre could be long-lasting. Police pulled scores of followers from the forest, many of whom didn't want to be rescued. The rescued followers, many of them either witnesses or still under suspicion, are being kept in a nearby center where therapists are trying to break their emotional and psychological ties to Mackenzie. One thing I can say about Christianity is it's not a religion. It's a personal relationship between you and God. It's very sad that all these people died. My deepest condolences to their families. If you've watched up to this part, I'd like to say a very big thank you. For those who haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave your suggestions in the comment section down below. Until then, have a nice day and stay safe.